What's up everyone, my name is Kelsey, welcome back to my channel. It is the middle of March, which is close enough to spring that I'm doing my spring cleaning. And by my spring cleaning, I mean my boyfriend is cleaning. And I'm clearing out my bookshelves. So for today's unhaul, I'm just getting rid of books I've read and didn't love, and books that have been on my TBR shelf for a long time, and I just don't think I'm ever going to read them. I've either lost interest or I've heard not so great things about them. And I'm just gonna go through them one by one and tell you about them. This little guy came in a subscription box, but I'm just never gonna read a story this short. I'm getting rid of it. Next is Where We Belong by Emily Giffin. This was a gift, an unsolicited gift, and I've read the synopsis and it just doesn't sound very interesting to me. Next is The Sister Pact by Stacey Ramey. I haven't read this. It's been on my TBR for a while and I just don't think I'm ever gonna pick it up. The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. This is another one I bought. It's been on my TBR for more than a year. I've read the first couple pages and it didn't grip me, so The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler. Another one that's been on my TBR for more than a year. I've read the first few pages. It's not anything that's blowing my mind. Next is The Firm by John Grisham. I've read this a couple of times. I've had it for years and years and years, but I'm just no longer interested in rereading it. These kind of dramas just aren't my thing anymore. And he's a very popular author, so I'm sure someone else would love to have this. The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. I read this, I didn't love it, and I'm never going to read it again. Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. I picked this up because I watched the movie, and the movie was cute, but I don't love the writing style. I've read the first few pages, and I don't think I'll ever finish it. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I bought this before the movie came out, so it's been a while, and I'm just not that interested in reading it anymore, and I feel like I'd rather just watch the movie. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. This is like a sci-fi classic, but I've heard that it's super sexist and kind of racist, and I'd just rather read new sci-fi that's not racist and sexist. Beautiful Ruins by Jess Walter. I haven't read this. I bought it at a secondhand bookstore and just never felt the need to pick it up. Sisterland by Curtis Sittenfeld. I haven't read this. It's an adult, contemporary, or literary fiction. Another one that's been on my shelf for more than a year and I never reached for it. So, Beacon 23 by Hugh Howey. I did read this. I only gave it 3 stars. I'll never reread it, and I don't feel the need to keep it on my shelf. You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. I read this. I gave it 2 stars. It was one of my least favorite books of last year. It's full of fake advice and some bad advice. I almost feel bad getting rid of this and making someone else pick it up. I hated it that much. Mem by Bethany C. Morrow. I got this in a subscription box. Gave it 3 stars. It's pretty short. It's an interesting story. Maybe some people like it, but I expected more. Brave Enough by Katie Gardner. I picked this up on a whim because it has a pretty cover, but I only gave it 3 stars. It was just average writing, average storytelling, average character development. Luke Skywalker Can't Read and Other Geeky Truths. Have read this. I gave it 3 stars, I think. It has some like fun little tidbits in here. I wouldn't say don't read it if you're into geeky stuff. It was fun to read, but I'll never read it again. Behind the Beautiful Forevers by Catherine Boo. I read this a few years ago before I used Goodreads, so I didn't give it a star rating. It's nonfiction, but it's narrative nonfiction. It tells a story of several people living in a few areas in India, but it is so sad and so depressing that I'm sure I'll never read it again. If you're interested in stuff like that though, I would recommend it. It was very well written. Another John Grisham, The Runaway Jury. Again, I've read this several times. I've had it for years, but I don't think I'll ever reread it. Paper Towns by John Green. Hands down my least favorite John Green, so I'm finally getting rid of it. I never even saw the movie. If the movie's good, tell me. Wait, did I see the movie? I feel like I did see the movie. Apparently not very memorable. The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. I read this. I gave it 3 stars. Thought it was just okay. It was in my January wrap-up. If you want to see that, I'll link it down below. But I'm never going to read it again. Twisted by Lori Hall Sanderson. This is another one I read years ago before I used Goodreads, so there's no star rating. I remember liking it, but reading the synopsis and like skimming through the text, I feel like there was some stuff in here that I would not like now. It deals with some kind of sexual assault, but it's from the girl who's assaulted's boyfriend. He is not the assaulter, but I don't know. It just feels like a weird perspective to take. Dreamland by Sarah Dessen, another one I read years ago, never gonna read again, just not into this kind of contemporary romancy deal anymore. Dead Ringer, Lisa Scottolini. This is a legal thriller. I really like her writing, so if you're into that like legal thriller drama type, I would check her out, but I'm not that into it anymore. Next is The Wolf by Leo Caro. I DNF'd this at like 150 pages. It's a high fantasy. Future Home of the Living God by Louise Erdrich. I read this for a book club, gave it 3 stars. It's not bad. The writing is excellent. The story is interesting, but there's something rushed about it. The pacing is weird. There are parts in the beginning that are super intense, like heart racing, gotta know what happens. And then it's almost like you move throughout the story, the less intense it gets. So by the end of this book, I was bored out of my mind. The Supervillain in Me by Danielle Banis. I've read this, gave it 3 stars. It was cute. It was fun to read. If you want something fluffy, this was a good time, but I'll never reread it. All right, don't hate me. Getting Rid of the Mortal Instruments, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I read the Mortal Instruments series, I think. I definitely read this one. It was okay. I'm not gonna reread it. I just remember getting really confused by all the books and what order they came out in, and I couldn't tell because the characters, some of these characters are in other series, and the whole thing confused me. Plus that whole like vaguely incesty, but not really incest plot kind of skewed me out. Armada by Ernest Cline. I read this before Goodreads, but I'm pretty sure I would have given it 3 stars. The beginning was really good and super interesting and intense, and I loved some of the references that he made to like video games and like 80s and 90s arcade games. And it was fun, but it wrapped up really neatly and kind of unrealistically. And last is Alias, which is a Jessica Jones comic, and I didn't love it. I wasn't interested in picking up the rest of them, so I might as well get rid of this. Okay, so I just finished filming my unhaul, but I finished another book since then, and it's Paper Girls Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan, and I only gave it 2 stars. It was just okay. Like, I don't know, the story was weird and kind of confusing. The illustrations are amazing, but that's my favorite part of it, and I don't know, I'm flipping through it, and these girls are only 12, and they don't act 12, and they don't talk like 12-year-old girls. So I'm not going to continue this series, and I'm just going to get rid of this one too. Alright, those are all the books I'm getting rid of this spring. Well, I might get rid of more. No, this is probably it, honestly. It's a struggle to narrow down my books. Even the ones that I didn't love, they're just so, like, some of them are so pretty. Now there's room for, like, new books that I actually love. If you're wondering, all of these books are going to get donated to my local library. They do, like, sales to raise money, so someone else will get some enjoyment out of these. Let me know in the comments if you're doing, like, a spring unhaul, because I want to watch other people's videos. I love unhauls for some reason. If you like this video, hit like. I post book-related videos every Wednesday, so if you want to keep up, subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week.